Good morning, class.
Good
Morning po,
morning po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay,
Good
attendance
morning
muna
po,
tayo.
ma'am.
Good
Agapay.
morning po, ma'am.
Agapay.
Good
Attendance
morning po,
muna.
ma'am.
Arsenas.
Present po, ma'am.
Arsino.
Ma'am, present po.
Articoma. Barlaan.
Present po, ma'am.
Barot. Barot. Bayabas. Castro. Cruz. Covin.
Present po.
Present po, ma'am.
Present po,
Dabalos.
Dabalos.
De Venecia.
Present po, ma'am. Present po.
De Vera.
Ma'am, Bayabas po. Present po, Bayabas.
Okay.
Develop po, present.
Okay. Trueco. Hener.
Heller po, ma'am. Present po.
Gonzales.
Present po, ma'am Gonzales.
Hernandez.
Present po, ma'am. Drueco, present.
Umami.
Present po, ma'am.
Lorzano.
Present po, ma'am. Lozano po.
Luna.
Present po, Luna.
Magnifico.
Present.
Makahibag.
Present po, ma'am. Makaibag.
Maliksi.
Present po, ma'am. Maliksi.
Malayari.
Present po. Good morning po.
Mendoza.
Magyari. Present
Mendoza.
po, Mendoza, ma'am.
Mutas.
Mutas present.
Palmes.
Palmes mo, present.
Porcalia. Rajail.
Present po, ma'am Rajael.
Ramirez.
Present po.
Redota.
Present po, ma'am.
Sancho.
Present po.
Sarmiento.
Present po, Sarmiento.
Talod.
Present po, Talod.
Chidoro.
Present po, Chodoro.
Tolentino. Sarate.
Present po, Zarate. Hindi ko na rin yun.
Agapa.
Ma'am, present po, tuloy.
Okay. Articona. Castro.
Present po, ma'am Castro po.
Cruz.
Present po, ma'am Cruz.
Porcalia.
Present po. Present, ma'am.
Articona. Okay. So let's continue. So last time we already have started with chapter 8, and that is information aids. We already have given the overview of this chapter as well as the objectives. We made mention that there are two main topics that will be discussed, and that is the background and history of information aids, and then issues and concern of information aids. We also have made mention of the chapter outline, and that is the background and history of information aids. Also the history. In the history, we said that there are three information revolution. We have the print-based era, the pre-digital era, and of course the digital era. Just same thing, we also have made mention of the issues and concerns. The issues and concerns are as follows. We have the health concern, the social media, the cybercrime, the data privacy, and of course, the fake news. We also have a mention of the information age. And we say that information age refers to a time period in which people could access information and knowledge. So the main feature would include everything concerning the electronic stage and transmission of information. Therefore, with the questions, are we living in this time period? Of course, our answer will be yes. We are living in this current period of the human history. Also, we also make mention regarding the theory, regarding the theory, to first consider theory of the information age. And therefore, we make mention that the theory of information age was first conceived by James R. Messenger in 1982 and was considered to be the father of information age. He was an American telephone and telegraph employee who published a book entitled The Death of the American Telephone and Telegraph Company. So a true new age based upon power of ideas. This led now to the effort in order to create global digital communication infrastructure in order to enable writing interconnection of computers. Hence, that's the reason why he's called as the father of information age. So it has typical names: computer age, digital age, and new media age. Therefore, information age now affected society through communication, information transfer, entertainment, business, and better living. So what are the benefits derived from the information age? The benefits that are being derived from information age are for information transfer, for communication, for better living, for entertainment, and for business. So for information transfer, with the right online tools, we can have access to any information. Knowledge as we need them. Another is for communication. Using online resources, we can reach anyone, anytime, anywhere in the world. Another is for entertainment. We can enjoy all sorts of activities or forms of entertainment like movies, music, online games, and others, anytime, anywhere. For business, we can transact in banks, shop, sell, or do any business transaction anytime in the comfort of our homes. For better living, the digital technology in this information age is continuously improving and empowering many of the dimensions of our society. So again, the benefits that can be derived from the information age would be for information transfer, for communication, for better living, for entertainment, and for business. Therefore, we all know that communication age start. So in the course of history, there have been periods of sharp acceleration or revolutions in the amount of information that people had access to. We call them information revolutions. And there are three information revolutions. The first information revolution is the print-based era. So it is considered so that the print-based era is considered as the Gutenberg era, when man disseminated information became possible, but was costly. Hence, so since it was costly, then it is being institutionalized. The second information revolution is the pre-digital era. Information revolution, wherein computers were introduced. And the third information revolution is the digital era. So along with the World Wide Web, which allowed massive technological advancement to take place. So the first information is print-based. So this is being marked by the development of printing press, invented by Johannes Gutenberg around 1436. So printing press accelerated the rediscovery. Of course, it accelerated the rediscovery and sharing of knowledge, and an invasion that forever changed the world. So the second revolution is dominated by pre-digital development. This is the era where computers started to be the right. So the pre-digital era, began in the mid-19th century through the introduction of telegraph, telephone, radio, and computer. Therefore, the, the first telegraph was discovered in 1945 by Samuel Morse. So he sent by tapping out the code for each letter in the form of long dashes and short signal in the form of dots. He converted it into electrical impulses and sent over telegraph wires. The first radio was wireless telegraph and being credited to Guglielmo Marconi. He provided the basis of radio as we know it today. So in 1984, Marconi sent the world's first radio signal. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell discovered the first telephone. It was built upon the success and technology of the telegraph. It was first also to enable transmission of more than one message along the same wire at one time. Then we have the mobile phone. A mobile phone is a portable telephone that can make and receive calls over a radio frequency late while user is moving within a telephone service area. That's why if you watch English television, you will notice that Americans generally say cell, while the British generally say mobile, and the rest of the world say cell phone. Comes now the first commercial mobile phone, and that is Motorola Dynatax 8000X. So the first phone call was made in April 3, 1973 by Martin Cooper, a senior engineer at Motorola. This being characterized by the following: 10 hours to charge, 30 minutes talk time, weigh 1.1 kilogram, measures 228.6 times 127 times 44.4 millimeter. It can store up to 30 port numbers and 6 hours standby. Therefore, it was first released in 1983 and was sold at $4,000. So the first commercial smartphone was a prototype called the Antler. It was developed by Frank Canova in 1992 at IBM. Also a refined version marketed in 1994 by Bell South under the name Simon Personal Communicator. So you will notice in here, photos started as bulky, but later on becomes handy and small at the turn of the century. And with the advent of non-sophisticated technology, it continued to evolve and become huge again, as shown by this figure showing the evolution of the homes. So another is a computer. The word computer was first used in 1613 in the book The Young Man's Lemming by Richard Braithwaite, and originally described a human who performed calculations or computations. Thus, so this definition remained the same until the end of the 19th century, when the Industrial Revolution gave rise to machine whose primary purpose was calculating. So when was the first computer invented? So there is no easy answer to this question due to the many different classification of computers. Some historians agree that it was in 1822 when Charles Babbage invented the first mechanical computer that eventually led to a more complex electronic designs. Babbage is considered also by some to be the father of computer. So, computer, according to Technophilia, a computer is a machine or device that performs processes, calculations, and operation based on instruction provided by a software or hardware programs. It is designed to execute application and provide a variety of solutions by combining integrated hardware and software components. So, the general purpose of the computer is being designed in order to perform a range of tasks. have the capability to perform numerous programs, but it lacked in speed and efficiency. Thus, the specific purpose of the computer is it was designed to handle the specific problems or to perform a specific task. A set of instructions is being built into the computer. And there are types of computer according to purpose. First, we have the analog computer. It uses continuously physical phenomena such as electrical, mechanical, or hydraulic quantities to model the problem being solved. Another, we have the digital computer. So this performs calculations and logical operation with quantities represented as digits, usually in the binary number system. Another is the hybrid computer. In this hybrid computer, it is a combination of analog and digital. So it is capable of inputting and outputting in both digital and analog signals. Offers a cost-effective method of performing complex simulations. There are also types of computer based on the basis of size. So first we have supercomputer. So supercomputer is the fastest and most powerful computer. We also have mainframe computer. So this is very large and expensive computer, capable of supporting hundreds or even thousands of users simultaneously. We also have mini computer or server. This is mid-size computer. Another we have microcomputer or personal computer. Under this we have desktop computer. This is personal computer that is sufficient to fit on a desk. We also have laptop computer. So this is a portable computer complete with an integrated screen and keyboard. Another we have palm-top computer, digital diary, netbook, personal digital assistant. These are hand-sized computer. Another we have workstation. This is terminal or desktop computer found in a network. So let us explore some of the first computers of their kind. So the first functional computer, the Z1, was invented by Konrad Zuse in 1936. The first commercial digital computer, the Z4, was invented by Konrad Zuse in 1942. Another we have the ENIAC. ENIAC is Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. So this is first fully functional digital computer. It was invented by John Moltke and J. Presper Eckert in 1946. So it is now being characterized. It can occupy more than 1,000 feet square. Also, it can weigh 30 tons and use about 18,000 vacuum tubes. Another we have UNIVAC, Universal Automatic Computer. It was a first computer with a program stored in memory. It was invented by John Moltke and J. Presper Eckert. Characterized, it could perform 1K calc per second, weigh 16,000 pounds, and use 5,000 vacuum tubes. Another we have Olivetti Programma 101. This is the first desktop computer invented by Pier Giorgio Perotto in 1964. It has no screen or mouse, use a small paper tape printer as a visualization device. This is a computer much smaller than those used at the time and compact enough to be a personal object of someone sitting on a chair at a desktop. Another we have first personal computer, that is Altair 8800. It was invented by Edward Robert in 1975. It has no screen or mouse. The instructions were relayed to it by punch tape transcript. Revolutionized the computing world by allowing common people to have their own personal computer. Another we have Osborne 1. This is the first laptop portable computer. Invented by Adam Osborne in 1981. Being characterized by, of course, having characterized and first widely accepted portable computer that included a monitor, disk drives, and other components. Characterized with a 64 KB memory with floppy drive and keyboard. Another we have the first commercial desktop computer called the Olivetti Program 101 was invented in 1965 by Pier Giorgio Perotto. The first internet service provider, that is the Telenet, was discovered in 1974 by Balt Bernadette and Newman. In 1981, the first true mobile computer called the Osborne 1 was developed by Adam Osborne. The first commercial mobile phone, called the Motorola Dynatax 8000X, was developed in 1983 by Martin Cooper. The first fully functional laptop computer, called the Gavillion, was developed in 1988 by Manny Fernandez. The first website address, called the Info CERN-TECH, even the World Wide Web, was developed in 1991 by Tim Berners-Lee. The first smartphone, called the Angler, was developed in 1992 by Frank Canova. The first personal digital assistant, called the Apple Newton Message Pad, was developed in 1993 by John Scully. The first popular web browser, called the Mosaic, was developed in 1993 by Mark Andreessen. The Yahoo was developed in 1994 by Jerry Young and David Philip. The Internet Explorer was developed in 1995 by Microsoft. At the same time, the Google was developed in 1996 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. The 6 Degrees was the first social media site, called the 6 Degrees, was developed in 1997 by Andrew Weinreich. The first online encyclopedia, called the Wikipedia, was developed in 2001 by Jimmy Wales and Larry Sandler. And the first smartphone by Apple Incorporated, called the iPhone, was developed in 2007 by Steve Jobs. Comes now the third information revolution, called the digital era. It started when the Internet World Wide Web were introduced, and this is known as the Internet. So as computers and phones continued to be sophisticated, The next challenge to man was the flow of information. Comes now the internet. The precursor of the internet was first developed by U.S. Department of Defense in 1969, known as the ARPANET, that is Advanced Research Project Agency Network, the network that ultimately evolved into what we now know as the internet. So, the World Wide Web was launched in August 23, 1991. It started in 1990 when Tim Berners-Lee, scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, developed the hypertext markup language. So how does this internet differ from the web? We know that the internet is a global network of networks. Why? The web is a collection of information which is accessed via the internet. To illustrate, the internet is an infrastructure while the web is service on top of that infrastructure. The internet can also be viewed as a big bookstore, while the web is the collection of books. So that to the question, how extensive is our use of the internet? Statistics shows that nearly 60% of the world population is already online. And in the 2019 survey, You Are Social reported that in the Philippines, the time being spent online daily increased from 9.48 hours in 2018 and 10.02 hours in 2019. Therefore, for 4 straight years, from 2016 to 2019, the Philippines top worldwide social media users. Therefore, a survey digital around the world in April 2020, having a total population 7.77 billion, urbanization ranges 55%. The unique mobile phone users was 5.16 billion, having a penetration of 66%. Regarding the internet users, it has 4.57 billion, with a penetration of 59%. And for active social media users, was 3.81 billion, having a penetration of 49%. Therefore, with such huge time allotted online, there are a lot of issues and concerns that may arise in this digital era. Therefore, what are some of the issues that we face in this digital era? We have health concern, social media, cybercrime, data privacy, also fake news, and others. We proceed now to the health concerns. Under the health concerns, we have accident, physical problems, and depression. In the physical problems, we have the eye problem, hearing problem, and the brain cancer. So first we have the health risk, the eye problem. Computer vision syndrome, also referred to as digital eye strain, describes a group of eye and vision-related problems that result from prolonged computer, tablet, or cell phone use. The symptoms now would include headaches, blurred vision, neck pain, fatigue, eye strain, double vision, dizziness, and difficulty focusing the eyes. Therefore, in order to prevent the eye problem, you have to rest your eyes. Therefore, the computer vision syndrome emerged as a notable concern in the contemporary digital landscape, manifesting through symptoms that arises from prolonged engagement with computer and other display devices without adequate breaks. As our reliance on technology intensifies, individuals are increasingly susceptible to repercussions of extended screen time. The computer vision syndrome encompasses a range of discomfort, including but not limited to eye strain, headache, blurred vision, and dry eyes. The syndrome is a direct consequence of the continuous strain imposed on eye as they focus on digital screen for prolonged duration without sufficient intervals of rest. On the other hand, there are negative impact of eye strain, and some are as follows. We have concentration disruption. So eye strain can disrupt focus and concentration during academic tasks, impacting student ability to observe information and perform optimally in studies. Also, academic performance. Prolonged exposure to digital screen without breaks may lead to decreased reading efficiency and comprehension, directly affecting academic performance. On the other hand, there are also preventive measures and relief techniques. Some of these are the following. Implement the 20-20-20 rule. What's this? This rule reminds us to look at something 20 feet away from at least 20 seconds every 20 minutes. So this simple practice helps alleviate the eye strain. Another is optimal lighting condition. By the video, it can be emphasized the importance of proper lighting in study environment in order to reduce the eye strain. Adequate ambient lighting and minimizing glare contribute to a more comfortable visual experience. Next, we have health risk. That is hearing problem. So over 42 million people within ages 12 to 35 years live with disabling hearing loss due to different causes. Among teenagers and young adult aged 12 to 35 years in middle and higher income countries. So nearly 50% are being exposed to unsafe level of sound fiber, the use of personal audio devices, and around 40% are being exposed to potentially damaging sound levels at club, discos, and bars. So the use of headphones for more than 5 minutes per day at high volume puts people at an increased risk for permanent loss. Noise-induced hearing loss is irreversible. And once you lose your hearing, it won't come back. Therefore, how can you make listening safe? They are as follows. Keep the volume down and limit time spent engaged. Limit time spent engaged in noisy activities. So that the recommended daily safe volume level is below 85 decibel for duration of a maximum of 8 hours. And limiting the daily use of personal audio devices, while it is important to keep the volume down, limiting the use of personal audio devices to less than 1 hour a day would do much to reduce noise exposure. Therefore, so another issue is, we already have made mention, the hearing problem. So according to Felt, headphones at high volume can react a staggering 105 decibels, surpassing the noise produced by the power tools. So this intensify poses a significant threat to our ears, potentially leading to permanent hearing loss. And listening to music with headphones for more than 5 minutes per day at high volumes put an individual at an elevated risk of irreversible damage to their hearing. On the other hand, as we have made mention, there are also preventive measures. That is, the volume control awareness. As a headphone user, we must know about the importance of maintaining moderate volume level. We must remind ourselves that excessively loud music is not only unnecessary for an enjoyable experience, but also could harm our hearing. Another is, you have to adopt 60-60 rule. And what is this? So this rule suggests listeners to keep the volume below 60% of the maximum and limit listening session to a maximum of 60 minutes at a time. Also, you have to take listening breaks. We must remind ourselves to take periodic breaks during extended headphones use to give our ears a rest and reduce the risk of long-term damage. So, as stated by the National Cancer Institute, there's currently no consistent evidence that non-ionizing radiation would increase cancer risk in humans. The only consistently recognized biological effect of radiofrequency radiation in human is heating. Therefore, what are then the possible cancer? So according to Inskip et al. In 2010, they examined temporal trend in brain cancer incidence rate using a collected by the surveillance, epidemiology, and the end result program found out that the incidence data do not provide support in order to view that cellular phone use causes brain cancer. And at the same time, Hardell et al. In 2010, he investigated the use of mobile or cordless phone and the risk for malignant brain tumor in a group of disease cases, confirmed the result of an association between mobile phone users and malignant brain tumors. Therefore, pertaining now to brain cancer. So brain cancer as a health concern in the information age arising from the potential link between mobile phone and the emission of radiofrequency energy. While suspicious exists due to head vulnerability when holding phones close to the ear, it's crucial to note that the low-frequency radiation emitted by phone is significantly lower in energy compared to the harmful effect of X-ray machines. And there are also preventive measures in order to avoid having symptoms of brain cancer. First, you have hand-free devices. So we can use hand-free devices like Bluetooth, earpieces, or speakerphone to reduce direct contact between the phone and the head, minimizing potential exposure. Another is limiting cell duration. So limiting the duration of phone call can also be considered as a measure, as prolonged exposure may contribute to increase of radio frequency energy absorption. Encouraging shorter, concise conversation can be a simple yet the effective precaution. Next we have depression. So in here, study shows that increase in social media use and television viewing are linked to symptoms of depression among teenagers. Boers et al. In 2019 analyzed survey data of more than 3,800 Canadian teens to identify how young people use of digital media may affect their mental well-being. The researcher found when participants increased their social media use or their television consumption in a given year, they also had higher levels of depressive symptoms. Therefore, Lin et al. In 2016 found a positive association between social media use and depression, and it indicates that frequent use of social media may be associated with a decline in subjective well-being, life satisfaction, and life community. So Ellison et al. In 2007 reported that social media users may experience decreased depression due to perceived social support and life satisfaction. So the U.S. National Center for Biotechnology Information linked heavy social media to depression. Comes now, accident. So many people think they can do two things at once, like talking or texting on phone while driving. But it's just not possible to concentrate fully on both. So research done by the American Psychological Association shows that the brain has difficulty processing two tasks simultaneously, and it can switch between the tasks, but will perform each more slowly. So that is why using the phone while driving is considered to be very dangerous. So in the accident, in the United States, about 1,600,000 deaths in road crash are caused by people using mobile phone while driving. Texting while driving is 6 times more likely to cause an accident than driving drunk. But in the Philippines, the mobile phone use is the rank as the third most common cause of traffic crashes. From 2001 to 2006 alone, road crashes caused by the use of mobile phones increased 5 times or 500%, the highest rate of increase among traffic accident causes. So some of the destructive driving statistics are as follows. There is no nationwide texting or phone usage ban associated with driving. That being said, some states passed laws banning this act. 38 states and D.C. have banned cell phone use, both texting and calling by novice drivers. 21 states and D.C. have banned all cell phone use for school bus driver. 38% of respondent ages 18 to 24 rates their knowledge of their state-owned laws about texting and driving as very familiar. 55% of these same respondents thought it was illegal to text while driving in all 50 states. 48% of those surveyed said they thought driving under influence of alcohol was about as dangerous as texting and driving. So according to the National Occupant Protection Use Survey, women are more likely than men to use their cell phones while driving. In June 2011, over 196 billion text messages were sent or received in the United States. That's almost 50% increase from 2009. And according to research from the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, voice activated in-car technologies undermine driving attention to a dangerous degree. So if you use a cell phone, you are 5.36 times more likely to get into an accident than undistracted drivers. And therefore, in order to minimize accident caused by distracted driving, the Philippines enacted Republic Act number 10913, that is, Anti-Distracted Driving Act of 2016, and it was signed into law by President Rodrigo Duterte. What are some of the issues and concerns that we face in this digital era? They are as follows. Social media, health concern, data privacy, cybercrime, and fake news. Comes now, social media. Social media is a collective term for websites, an application which focuses on communication and sharing of information, ideas, personal messages. It was first introduced in 1997 with the launching of 6 Degrees, a smaller version of Facebook, allowed users to create a profile and connect with friends. And AOL Instant Messenger would allow users to talk in real time. So since then, a host of different platforms have become available for news sources, chat rooms, inspiring creativity, sharing personal information, dating, and others. Therefore, social media is a computer-based technology that facilitates sharing of ideas, thought, and information through the building of virtual network and communities. Social networking refers to the platform for communicating with another, while social media is a platform for broadcasting information. And therefore, the 2019 Global Digital states that there are 5 billion people around the world that uses the internet. So the most popular social media was the Facebook. So in 2012, Facebook became the first social media platform to surpass 1 billion users. As of April 2020, it is the most popular social media platform worldwide with 2.5 billion monthly active users. And you will notice that the most popular social media platform in 2020 was the Facebook, followed by YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, WeChat, Instagram, Douyin TikTok, QQ, Ozone, Sina Weibo, and Reddit. There are categories of social media. They are as follows: social networking site, image sharing and messaging site, social community discussion site, video sharing site, and social blogging site. Let's start now with a social networking site. Social networking site is an online platform for building social networks or social relationship with other people who share similar personal or career interests, activities, background, or real-life connection. This being LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Another is the image sharing and messaging site. So this is an online platform for publishing or transferring digital photos online. This includes uploading, hosting, managing and sharing of photos, either publicly or privately. This being linked to Instagram, Messenger, and Snapchat. Another we have video sharing site. This is an online platform for uploading, sharing videos, or live streaming their own videos to the internet. Can be for the general public to watch or particularly users on a shared network. These being linked to Dailymotion, YouTube, and Vimeo. Another we have social blogging site. This is an online publishing platform that blends features of both traditional blogging and social networking, being linked to Medium, Tumblr, and WordPress.org. Lastly, we have social community and discussion site. This is an online discussion forum that provides a platform for different online communities where users can anonymously share content and discuss various subjects. Under these being linked to Google, Reddit, and Quora. So, the most popular social media and networking sites are as follows. We have Friendster, founded by Canadian programmer Jonathan Abram in 2002 as a social networking service website, but redesigned and relaunched as a social gaming platform in June 2011. Another we have LinkedIn, most popular social media for professional networking, and was founded in late 2012. Another we have MySpace. This offers an interactive user-submitted network of friends, personal profiles, blogs, groups, photos, music, and videos. So it holds a record of most visited networking site in the world from 2005 to 2008. It was founded in 2004 by Tom Anderson and Chris DeWalt and John Hart. We have Skype. This is the first to add video conferencing in 2006, founded by Sir Niklas Hellstrom and Wayne James Fries. Another we have Facebook, that was founded by Mark Zuckerberg with his college roommate and another student from Harvard, Eduardo Saverin, in early 2004. We also have this YouTube. This is PayPal created, a video sharing website where users can upload. The site was activated and was available in public in February 14, 2005. Another we have Twitter. Twitter is an online news and social networking service where users post and interact with messages that is limited to 140 characters. Another, we have Tumblr. This is microblogging and social networking website that was founded by David Karp in 2007 and owned by Ott Incorporated. The website allows users to post multimedia and other content. Bloggers can also create their own blog and follow other bloggers. Then we have Bisugar. This is a social networking platform and its resource for small business owner, entrepreneurs, and managers. We also have this Facebook Messenger. This is messaging app and platform. Instagram, a mobile desktop and internet-based photo sharing application. Pinterest. This is a web and mobile application startup that operates a software system designed to discover information on the World Wide Web. Also, we have Viber. This is a cross-platform voice over IP and instant messaging software application operated by Japanese multinational company Rakuten. Then we have cybercrime. Cybercrime is a crime that targeted computer network or devices. Under these, we have virus attack, malware attack, denial of service attack. Another is a crime that uses computer to advance other illegal activities. Under these, we have cyber stalking, identity theft, spamming, hacking, and phishing. So in the cybercrime within the social engineering, it is a manipulation of people into divulging confidential or sensitive information. And they are mostly done over email, but regularly being carried out over the phone. So spamming is an unsolicited bulk messages sent to multiple recipients who did not ask for them. So what can spam does? It could distribute advertisement, commercial spam, religious spam, or political spam. It can also distribute malware or virus, phishing, and hacking. Phishing is masquerading a trustworthy source in an attempt to bait a user to surrender sensitive information such as a username, password, credit card number, and others. Phishing or smishing is phishing being done via voice calls or text messaging in order to trick users in giving personal information. Hacking is using exploits to gain access to something you do not normally have access to. A phish, which is ultimately a hack, occurs when user baited with an email, phone call, or perhaps a text message and tricked into voluntarily responding with information. That is why Republic Act number 10175, that is Cybercrime Prevention Act of the Philippines, was signed into law by President Benigno Aquino in 2012. RA 10175 intends to penalize acts like cyber sex, child pornography, identity theft, and unsolicited electronic communication in the country. So regarding now the data privacy. Data privacy is also known as information privacy. Data privacy is the necessity to preserve and protect any personal information collected by any organization from being accessed by a third party. Thus, any personal data that could be sensitive or can be used maliciously by someone is included when considered data privacy. Thus, this data privacy again is necessity to protect and preserve any personal information from being accessed by another party. That's why Republic Act number 10173, known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012, was signed into law by President Benigno Aquino in 2012. This RA 101-3773 intends to protect the personal information of its citizens from being disclosed without its consent. And the National Privacy Commission, or the NPC, is an independent body created under which is being mandated to administer and implement its provision and monitor, thus ensure the compliance of country with international standard set for data protection. So, what are then the scope of data privacy? The scope of Data Privacy Act of the Philippines would be: all personal information must be collected for reasons that are specified, legitimate, and kept accurate, relevant, used only for stated purposes, discarded in a way that does not make it visible and accessible to an authorized third party. So that the National Privacy Commission has identified data privacy as the right of an individual not to disclose his information and to live free from surveillance. So we also have now some data breaches were allegedly committed by health workers. In one instance, a hospital staff took a photo of a death certificate of a suspected COVID-19 patient and then posted it to their department group chat. So one of the members sent that photo to her own family group chat, from which her father forwarded it to another group chat. The photo of the death certificate ended up in several group chats. So that from mid-March to late May of 2020, the National Privacy Commission, or the NPC, had been investigating 22 complaints of privacy breaches involving COVID-19 patients. Then we have this fake news. So fake news or junk news or pseudo news. These are, of course, stories written with the intent to mislead in order to damage an enemy, an entity, or a person, or gain financially or politically, often using sensationalist, dishonest, or fabricated headlines in order to increase readership. Therefore, there are 3 types of fake news. They are misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Misinformation is a false information disseminated without harmful intent. This information is created and shared by people with harmful intent. Malinformation is sharing of genuine information with the intent to cause harm. Therefore, as we have made mention, what are then the effects of fake news? First, we have the illusory effect. The fact that if a lie is repeated enough times, you'll begin to believe it's true. This may lead to unexpected consequences. The impact on public relation profession. It would be unfair to those journalists who hold to a higher standard of reporting, while others can publish completely false information. And third, the impact on consumers' view of news media. So with so much false information, consumers now will become skeptical, which will erode the trust they should have in the mass media. Therefore, with regards to the fake news, there are fake news articles. The narrative is usually made and has no credible quote, sources, or verifiable facts. These tales must occasionally be propaganda that is meant to deceive the reader on purpose, or they might be created as clickbait, which is produced for financial gain, so the author gets paid depending on how many people click on the article. Therefore, it is a complex and nuisance problem, one that is far greater than the narrow definition above. So, in identifying fake news, we will be using the Kraft test. And what is this Kraft test? First, currency. You have to examine and ask the following question. When was the article written? What about the sources they are using? For relevancy or reliability, are they using appropriate sources and data? Are there quotations with references? For authority, who wrote it? Are they credible? Are they a real person? And purpose or point of view. Why is it being written? Is it a fact or an opinion? So that is Kraft test. Or in short, you can do the following. First, you have to check the source. Check the web address of the page you're looking for. Sometimes fake news site may have spelling error. Less conversational domain extensions, such as Infonet or Offer. If you're unfamiliar with the site, then look in it about the section. Then you also have to check the author. You research them to see if they are credible. For example, if they are real, do they have a good reputation? Are they willing and writing about their specific idea of expertise? And do they have particular agenda? You must also check other sources. Are other sources, news or media outlets reporting on the story? Are credible sources cited within the story? Professional global news agencies have editorial guidelines and extensive resources for fact-checking. So, if they are also reporting the story, that's a good sign. And then, you should maintain a critical minded. A lot of fake news is cleverly written to provoke strong emotional reactions such as fear or anger. You must maintain a critical mindset by asking yourself, why is this story being written? Is it promoting a particular cause or agenda? Is it trying to make me click to another website? Also, you should check the fact. Find out if it is a credible news stories. Will include plenty of facts, data, statistics, quotes from experts, and so on. If there are missing, question why. The report with false information often contains incorrect dates or altered timelines. So it's a good idea to check when the article was published. Is it current or old news story? Then you also have to check the comments. Even if the article or video is legitimate, the comments may not be. Open links or comment pointed in response to content can be auto-generated by bots or people hired in order to put our misleading or continuing information. Also, you have to check your own biases. We all have biases. Could this be influencing the way you respond to the article? Social media can create its chamber by suggesting articles that match your exciting browsing habit, interest, and opinion. The more we read from diverse sources and perspective, the more likely it is that you can draw accurate conclusions. So this is a sample of a fake news during the pandemic. One suspect, a public school teacher, wrote on Facebook on March 27 that food supplies in General Santos City were running low. He allegedly urged the public to size food that was being stored in a chip. Another suspect posted a list of people he said had contracted COVID-19 on Facebook in order to help in contact tracing. That's why President Duterte on March 27 signed a bill granting him emergency power to combat COVID-19 crisis, which included a section that imposed jail time and fine of up to 1 million pesos for spreading false information about the disease on social media or other platforms. Here are some sample fake news. Actor-singer na si Ogie Alcacid natagpo ang patay sa loob ng kanyang sasakyan. When in fact, we all know that Ogie Alcacid is alive and kicking. There are also other issues and concerns. Technophobia, which really means a fear of technology, including the use of computers and similar electronic devices, is one of the most common anxieties produced by the information age. So that if a person shows dread or panic and uncontrolled reaction in response to the technology, he may be technophobic. Digital divide is a term that refers to the gap between demographics and regions that have access to modern information and communications technology, and those that don't or have restricted access. Information overload, that is cognitive overload. It is a situation in which too much information is given at one time, which can cause the inability to think clearly. Technology strategies have compared information overload to physical obesity as infobesity. Just as the eyes are sometimes larger than our stomach, therefore, our intestine can be significantly greater than our brain capacity. Okay, we have made mention of the information overload. Information overload usually occurs when the amount of input to a system exceeds its processing capacity. So decision makers have fairly limited cognitive processing capacity. Consequently, when information overload occurs, it is likely that a reduction in decision quality will occur. So the term was coined by Bertrand Ross, professor of political science, in his 1964 work, The Managing of Organization. Information overload has been a problem throughout the history, particularly using the Renaissance and Industrial Revolution period. However, the dawn of the information age and access to powerful and low-cost data collection on an automated basis has brought us more information than was available at any other point in history. And therefore, as a result, the problem of information overload is more relevant to engineers than ever before. Therefore, for example, the news report titled Digital Jungle, Information Overload, plays into the growing concern surrounding a contemporary phenomenon known as information overload. So this theory has emerged in response to a pervasive use of digital devices, the exponential growth of new data, and the unprecedented speed at which information is being disseminated. So that the report underscores this societal shift brought about by the information age and examines the consequences of an environment inundated with the constant stream of data. So, how can we escape information overload? Well, you can escape that by stop multitasking. Multitasking may seem like an efficient way to handle numerous tasks simultaneously, but it often contributes to information overload. The brain is not designated to process multiple complex tasks at once efficiently. So focusing on one task at a time enhances your ability to absorb and comprehend information. Thus, by avoiding multitasking, you can reduce cognitive strain and improve your overall effectiveness in handling information without feeling overwhelmed. So that ends chapter 8. So sa next meeting, kung tayo ay mag-face-to-face, we'll have a short quiz, chapters 4, 5, 6, and then we'll have some activities to work on. So that is all for today. Lahat naman present. Andiyan na ba si Articona? Andiyan na? Parot, andiyan ka na? Okay. So that's all. Take care and keep safe, class. See you next meeting. Ingat kayo.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Okay, ingat. Bye.
Thank you po,
Paalam
ma'am.
po.
Ingat po.
Okay, nasan kayo? Sa bahay? Bahay ba kayo?
Nasa school. Sa iba po na sa biyahe.
Sige, ingat.
Thank you po, ma'am.